Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Lift Your Life podcast. As always, I hope everyone is doing all of the good and everyone, oh, that sounded awful. All of the good. Ugh. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But I hope you are good. And I hope you're having a lovely start to spring. It is April. It is crazy. We are in spring already, but it is starting to pick up. The sun is starting to shine more. The days are getting brighter. It is coming and I am here for it. I don't know about you guys, but just these summer brighter days and just the sunshine has really, really boosted my mood and made me feel so much more energized the last few weeks. It's just been wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I think Disneyland has definitely helped as well. But yeah, it's been wonderful. So today's episode, you guys love the mindset ones, and these mindset-based podcasts that I do, they're not always going to be relevant on the day that you listen to it on the first day, but they are there for when you need them. So I've done episodes like this, like what to do when you feel like giving up and overcoming motivation slumps. And these are ones that you just want to whip out and have in your back pocket when you're having a bad day. So if this isn't needed today, still listen to it because it's good, but save it for when you're having a bad day. Like put it in your notes section of your phone. Just go, all right, when I'm having a bad day, I'm going to whip this podcast out and it's going to give me the butt kicking that I need to get up and go. Because everyone has moments like this. When, days where you feel like you're not making progress, you're not getting to where you want to be, you're not good enough are normal. I can't think of anyone who doesn't experience this. And especially on like a fitness, a weight loss, a fat loss journey, it's so normal. I've had it. I pretty much can guarantee every single one of my clients has said this to me at some point or something similar, or if they've not, they probably will. And I'm going to talk to you about 5 things that can help or that you want to implement when you are having these feels. So the first thing I want you to understand about making progress and progressing towards a goal is that the way that we put the effort that we give and the actions that we take are going to be different on a week-to-week basis based off so many things, because our life is not the same every single week and every single day. Some days are really good, some days aren't. Sometimes life's more stressful, sometimes life's better. Sometimes we've got more free time, sometimes we've got less responsibilities. It's always going to be different. So I like to look at progression and the rate at which we progress in terms based off our actions and implementation, a bit like a gear stick in a car, with 1 being like you're moving very, 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 very slowly, but you're still moving, and 6 being like, full throttle, I'm giving this my absolute welly. And we're probably not going to be at stage 6 all the time because it's just unrealistic to be that go, go, go all the time. You're probably going to burn out. But there'll be times in life where you can just throw everything at the kitchen sink. I don't know why that's a saying, because I've never thrown anything at my kitchen sink. I don't even know if that's a saying. I think it is. Otherwise I sound really stupid right now. But there'll be times that when I did my photo shoot prep, for example, where I did like this 4 really intense 4 weeks where I just literally just head down, go, 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 go with cardio, steps, everything. But I couldn't do that forever. But there's times where I've also just eased off a little bit and I've not been, massively pushing to do everything, but I've been doing my training, eating to hit some calories. Things haven't been perfect, but I'm still trickling towards that ultimate end goal. And that's what you need to realize, is that sometimes you won't be making huge leaps forward because other things are a focus. Maybe you've got things going on in your personal family life. Maybe work's really stressful, busy. Maybe you're unwell. Maybe you've just got other priorities at that moment in time, and that's more than okay. But seeing it as a gear shift, that sometimes you will be moving closer quicker because you have more capacity to go a faster approach. Other times you're going slower, but that's cool. And you are going to shift through that gear stick throughout your time and journey. You're going to be going slower than you are now some weeks. You're going to be going faster and harder. Faster. That's so mature. Some weeks as well. So looking at it like that and understanding that maybe now you're in a lower gear, but that's absolutely fine. As long as you're in gear and not neutral or in reverse, because we don't go into reverse. We either stay neutral or we go. No, we don't stay neutral either. We go forward always. No, you can maintain, but we don't like to regress. So as long as you are moving forward in some way, shape or form, that's enough. And remember that you will have times where you go faster and harder based off the fact that you will have the capacity to do so in the next week, in the next month. But it's okay to not be in that 6th gear all the time. Despite what social media likes you to believe, that you want to be hardcore, no days off all the time. Bullshit. The next one off the back of that is that being too self-critical. You are probably making progress, but maybe because it's not the same rate of progress as someone else, or the same rate of progress that you've made previously, or quite the progress that you hoped you'd be, you hope to be seeing. Do you have unrealistic expectations of yourself? of, I want to be losing like 3 kilos a week. Okay, but you wanting to give up like all food and just eat like chicken and veg and do all the cardio? No. Well, then you're not going to be losing 3 kilos a week. Okay, but are you still seeing weight loss? Are you still seeing, healthy habit progressions and formulations? Are you feeling better? Yeah. Okay, well, you're making progress then. Maybe the scale didn't drop this week at all, but did you get loads of PBs in the gym? Did you feel more confident in the gym? Did you actually try an outfit and that didn't fit a few months ago and it does? All these things are markers of progression. And we as humans like to latch onto negatives. So you could make like 10 million gazillion wins that week, but you're going to home in on the negative and be like, oh, well, this didn't happen, so I'm not making progress. But all those other things were happened that indicated that you are. You're just choosing to bias that towards the negative, maybe out of a fear of failure, maybe because you just are quite negative towards yourself. But don't. Always look for the positive and home in on that and just see that as that's the step forward I've made that week. And I'm going to celebrate that rather than homing on what didn't go quite well or the thing that I didn't quite achieve that week. The next is about seeing small regressions as failure. So I just mentioned then that we don't like to go into reverse gear, but sometimes regressions happen. Sometimes you have little blips, bumps in the road, hurdles, however you want to label them. But that's really normal because progress is not linear. Whenever you start a goal, you kind of have this image in your head of this like upward path where everything's just plain sailing. So it's like this week, this happens, and I get better next week and better that week and better and better and better. Just, in very, very gradual, equal jumps week on week. Never happens like that, ever. You'll have some weeks like in the gear shift. By the way, I came up with this gear analogy. So if someone steals it, can you please let me know so I can go kick their ass because I'm pretty proud of it. Some weeks you'll just fly. You'll have everything will just feel amazing. You'll have some weeks where nothing will really change. You just kind of maintained, but you will have some dips. Everyone has dips where they go a little bit backwards, whether that's because you've not been able to train, do your exercise because you've been unwell. So you've gained weight as a result. Whether you've just had a really, really stressful week and you've overeaten that day and you didn't want to, you didn't mean to, but it's just happened. Whether that's you've just not prioritized your sleep. So your training is really crap and your lifts are all going down the drain. Regressions happen, but just accepting that they are a part of the process. And ultimately, whenever you have a regression, it's never that small regression that's the problem. It's your attitude, mentality, and reaction that is. So if you see that as, oh my God, my training's going to shit, what's the point? And you stop training and going to the gym, well, then your training is going to go to shit because you're not training. If you don't actually deal with the problem of realizing that actually my training is going to shit because my sleep's bad and dealing with that, nothing's going to change. If you had that emotional blip because you had a really stressful day and you then let that, well, I fucked my diet, what's the point? Carry on. Well, then you will fuck your diet because you're just going to continue overeating and gain weight. But one day, cracking on as business as normal the next day, you're going to be absolutely fine and dandy the following week. It'll be like it never happened. So seeing regressions or bumps in the road as hurdles as just a part of the process and knowing that when they happen, the most important thing is what happens next, not that regression itself. The next one is sometimes actually when you feel like you're not making progress, it's because you actually need a bit of a wake-up call and a bit of a reality check. If you're not seeing progress and you feel like you're not getting anywhere, why is that? Sometimes it is just us being too self-critical, like I mentioned, but sometimes it's actually you actually need to do a bit more about this. Maybe you've signed up to work with a coach. Maybe you've committed, signed up to a gym, but are you actually giving everything that you need to do in order to see results? Have you actually followed the plan to a T? Are you actually being accountable to everything? Are you actually fully tracking your food? Are you actually doing the things that you want to do, or is the intention just there? Sometimes you actually need that reality check to go, okay, things aren't moving the way I want. There's probably a reason for this. And maybe I actually just need to do more and shift into that first, second gear to see some things happening because I'm not actually making it happen. I want it to happen. My intentions are there. I've bought the food. I've saved a load of recipes on TikTok. I've joined a gym. I bought a new banging gym outfit, but you're not actually taking action on the things that are getting you from A to B. So if you are feeling like that, sometimes you need to actually call yourself out. Like, are you actually doing what you were intended to do? Are you blaming other things? Is there always an excuse? And let that become a bit of a slap in the face to go, if I want to see things change, something needs to change that isn't quite changing here. And 9 times out of 10, you'll know what that is. You just won't admit it to yourself. So calling yourself out on your own shit and taking action on it is sometimes needed. Sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. And my final point is pretty similar to what I've discussed throughout this episode. And what I've mentioned a lot, which is stop trying to be perfect. You know, we sometimes don't feel like we're getting anywhere because we're trying to be this absolutely perfect human with, okay, I want to do everything. I want to tick the box of the steps and tick the box of the cardio and tick the box of this and tick the box of that. And when you feel like maybe you haven't quite done everything and maybe you had a slower week, it's like, well, I'm not progressing. So what's the point? But you are. Being consistently good and aiming to be good consistently will always, always, always get you closer towards that end goal than trying to be perfect inconsistently. Because like I've just said, that 6th gear perfection is not something you can do consistently. And if you always feel like you've let yourself down or you're not good enough or you're not getting there because you've not had perfect weeks, that mentality is what's going to drag you down and hold you back, because it's that mentality that's going to go, actually, well, do you know what? I can't do this. What's the point? Those thoughts of giving up kick in. Those unhealthy habits kick in because that self-doubt is starting to take over. It's like, well, I don't think I can get there anyway, so I might as well just have that extra biscuit. Fuck it. And then all those things just start to accumulate and kick back in. Whereas reminding yourself that if you've had a good week where things have been good and you have taken a few steps forward, that's awesome. That's brilliant. And being good consistently, those little steps forward eventually get you really, really close to that end goal, or that end goal starts to, you can actually see it in the distance. Whereas if you just take these big leaps forward to then take a leap back because you've been strive to be perfect again, didn't go to plan, then went into some old fuck it mode mentalities and keep back and forwarding, you never do actually progress because you're just always going forward to backwards. Whereas just trickling along slowly by just making small baby steps, that's going to really, really help you get you closer towards your end goal. So always striving for that consistency with being good rather than being perfect inconsistently. So I hope if any of you are at that point who have been feeling, you know, not quite good enough and that you're not making any progress, that this one has been helpful for you. And if this wasn't needed today, like I said, park it. And when you are having those thoughts, come back to it, find the point from here that resonates with you most and just listen to it, acknowledge it. And if needed, take action on it. And as always, if you have found this helpful and useful, I always love to hear who listens to my podcast. Drop me a message and let me know you've listened to it and that you found it helpful. Drop it a share and tag on Instagram because that really helps me out. And I do honestly appreciate it more than words can say. But other than that, I'll love you and leave you for this week. Have yourself a beautiful rest of your week. And I shall speak with you later on the next episode.